prison more than 6 years under the torture, under the heated. The Islamic government killed my brother in prison.
The tears are a river that begin on the delta of the Nakba and end only with liberation. On that day, man and earth and sky shed tears in bitter goodbye.
Hello, my name is Stanley Heller. Welcome to The Struggle. The Struggle is shown on over 30 cable stations from Maine to New York City and points west. Iranians and Iranian Americans protested the terrible repression by the Khamenei regime near the United Nations on November 24th.
Down with the regime!
Down with the regime!
متحدتر باشیم و از این به بعد یک حرکت‌های تشکیلاتی تری با هم دیگه داشته باشیم که ولی همه ما تا مرحله براندازی جمهوری اسلامی میتونیم با هم همکاری داشته باشیم.
One of the people in the crowd had been a union organizer in Iran. His family paid a terrible price for their activism.
I was in prison more than 6 years under the torture, under the heated. The Islamic government killed my brother in prison. He was a unionist for driver in Iran. And Islamic government now try to kill driver, teachers, students, all of poor people that they come out and they protest regarding the Islamic government policy. And we are here for protest to the government Islamic in Iran because the government Islamic in Iran is criminal. Last week, the Islamic government in Iran killed more than 600 workers, drivers, young girls and women in Iran. And now more than 5,000 people in prison.
The rally incorporated a series of people with diverse views, but they were united with one purpose: to condemn the brutal crackdown of peaceful protest. The different participants included apolitical people mourning the losses, leftists, Iranian labor activists, intersectionality activists, and even a prominent group of supporters of the pre-1979 government. Many were waving a flag generally but not exclusively associated with the monarchist movement. We had a chance to talk with a young woman from Middle East Matters, a student group dedicated to telling the stories of people of the Middle East.
Yes, so I'm here with an organization called Middle East Matters. We try to amplify the stories of Middle Eastern people and just talk about the issues that are happening in the Middle East because mostly people don't talk about the Middle East. And today we're here, we advertise for a peaceful protest here because we want to, in the memory of the people who have lost their lives in Iran right now and who've gotten injured and who've been arrested. I was born in Iran, so I actually have a really strong connection. So I know what it feels like to be in Iran. And so today I was hoping to come here to have a peaceful protest to just in the memory of people who lost their lives in Iran in the past 6 days since the protest started. And and we've been trying to light candles here for those who've lost their lives.
How do you see this movement connected to other Middle East movements? How does this act as a bridge?
As when the Iraq protest started and then the Lebanon protest started and then the Iran protest started, they're all interconnected, and a lot of people in social media were sharing photos and videos of people in Lebanon and Iraq cheering for people in Iran and encouraging them to, we're with you. And I think that's just so beautiful, that's encouraging, and I think that's what we need in the Middle East right now.
ملت ما آسیه بردهداری کافیه What do you want? What do we want? Freedom for Iran! What do we want? Freedom for Iran! What do we want? Freedom for Iran!
شیعه در ایران کشور آزادی بوده، حتی قبل از صفویه ما یعقوب لیث ها داشتیم، بابک خرمدین ها داشتیم، فردوسی ها به زور نبرد یعقوب لیث تونستن به فارسی حرف بزنن. عرب ها، مسلمون ها، اسلام 200 سال زبان مردم ایران.
There was a notable tension between those who saw the time of the Shah as better than today and those Iranians who felt put off by the Shah-era flag who wanted democratic government for Iran.
Representative of the Iranian people, they are a bunch of thieves. They are stealing from the people and they are killers. They are not Muslims. They are nothing.
ایران رو بگیم مردم ایران زیر چرخ فقر دارن له میشن، مردم ایران زیر چرخ تبعیض دارن له میشن و این پرچم هایی که خیلیاتون دست میگیرید، من برای این پرچم احترام قائلم، جلوی همتون به این پرچم بوسه میزنم که بدونید من هیچ مشکلی با این پرچم ندارم، اما این پرچم یه پرچم مبتذل شده است به دست مجاهدین، به دست سلطنت طلبان. بیاین اشکالات خودمون رو ببینیم. این پرچم
Actually, for 40 years, some Iranian people had a problem with the Iranian government. But right now, it's getting worse and worse. And our government right now is shutting down the internet, killing the people in the streets, and increasing the price of the gas and cost of life. So that's a problem. And we want to show the support of our people inside and outside.
Both.
Definitely sanction has effect, but the most problem is our government. They using the neoliberalism economy, so they trying to I don't know, maybe 5 or 10% of our population getting rich, and the rest of them live behind.
Behind these signs is this news. For 3 days, people in Mansour, Khuzestan, southern Iran had effectively taken over almost all state buildings, cut off major roads, and even taken over parts of major petrochemical industrial sites. People of Mansour had effectively liberated the city from the regime control. And that's when the regime sent tanks to the region during the internet and communication shutdown. Hundreds were killed to restore regime control of the area. And we want to note a letter of support for the struggling Iranians, which condemns the violence used against them. We'll link to it on our site, thestruggle.org. From the Palestine Museum US, which is in Woodbridge, Connecticut, an appearance by Lina Abojaradeh. She speaks and shows some of her amazing videos.
Yeah. Okay, hi. This is amazing to be here. I remember when I saw the opening of this museum on Facebook, I was like, wow, there's a museum dedicated for Palestine in the United States. That's amazing. And so it's been a dream of mine to show any of my work, let alone have an event and be able to speak to everyone about my passion, which is Palestine. So as Faisal mentioned, I graduated as an architecture student, but my passion has always been art and poetry. And so for the last 10 years, I've kind of been dedicating myself to mixing poetry with art through short film to kind of captivate attention in a unique way. As you all know, with events like with things like Palestine, I think numbers and news headlines have kind of become something that we're used to. And so in order to capture people's attention, we need something new. We need something more creative. And so that's what I try to do through the mediums that I use. So my most recent video actually uses my face as a canvas to tell a story. I've used salt, I've used sand. I try to, explore different mediums in order to really tell stories in a new and different and unique way. So a little bit about my background is that I'm originally Palestinian from Jaffa. I was born in Jordan, I was raised in the United States, and then I went back to Jordan. So if you're wondering about the accent, that's kind of the reason why my English is so good. And so that kind of gave me a unique background. I had a Western upbringing, and then I kind of got to connect with my roots, my Islamic and Arabic roots. And so that also comes through in my art. I believe that I'm someone with a very strong sense of identity, something that's kind of missing nowadays. We're kind of confused of who we are and who we're allowed to present. So that's also something that's important to me, being, a strong female Muslim Arab woman who has a platform. So yeah, that's a little bit about my background. I think we wanted to start off the evening with a poetry reading, and then we'll get to screening some of the videos. I'm actually here I was here in New York to accept an award for one of my videos called We Are Enough, and it won the Jury International Prize in the Plural Plus Film Festival. And I got to, yeah, thank you. So it was amazing to represent Palestine. I made a point to wear Palestinian embroidery at the United Nations, and I even mentioned it in my speech just because I feel like I really want to represent Palestine in these important moments. And so the film is about, women empowerment and kind of, just the stereotypes and labels and double standards that women face in the world today. And so we'll be seeing that in a little bit, but let's start this off with the poem. It's called My Homeland, and I wrote this last year, when there were happenings in Gaza and the March of Return, and it was kind of my eternal message of hope for the new year. And so I think it's very relevant given what's happening now and the time that we're in now. Okay. Another year has come and gone. Still you hear that distant song, my homeland, and the morning sun bring news to the Holy Land of a newborn's war cry and a martyr's last goodbye. And the guns will inspire a child to write a letter in his father's blood to those who kill but have not yet won, to the occupier. You can adorn our bodies with bullet holes, imprison our young and displace our old, break the bones of our concrete homes, collect our mother's tears, put our children to sleep to the lullaby of drones. Still, the children will play in fields of red poppies and the mother will pray. Our homes will stand broken but tall. The youth will dream and the old will recall. Our souls will sing even as our bodies fall. My homeland, my homeland. A foreign people will never understand why we are proud to be born with rocks in our hands. Like our beloved olive trees, we have been planted in this land before time. Palestine will remain a womb and a grave for those free men to take their first steps towards liberty and their last breath in victory. The red poppies will always bloom and our souls will continue to sing, my homeland, my homeland. Thank you. So next up, I wanted to share a video that kind of explores, the history of art as a way of resistance. And I include some of my biggest role models, so Ghassan Kanafani, Najil Ali, Mahmoud Darwish, and not many people know this, but actually Ghassan Kanafani was the one who gave Najil Ali his big break. And so I think it's amazing to find that intersectionality between, Palestinian artists and their role in the resistance. So this includes Arabic and English poetry in collaboration with an Arab poet called Anas Murad. An expulsion, a crooked road, the weight of war held on an old man's back and in the bare feet of children, now refugees. Tomorrow we will come back, they say, but they walk towards a tomorrow that holds only apologies for bringing more blood and loss. The road is silent. There is only the sad echo of feet moving away from home. Can you understand what only the olive trees know?
لا، لن يعرفوا أبدا، فأشجار زيتوننا وحدها شهدت كل شيء. تبادلت يومها نظرات مواساة، وانتهت بسقوط المنطق أسفلها، ومن دون ظلالها مشينا خارج المكان. بكيتها وأبكتني، وأنين الوجهة خلفنا أثقل ظهري، ومن شدة الأنين بحت الأصوات، فلا صوت اليوم يعلو صوت أمي. ومعتصماه ومعتصماه. أمسكت بيدها، عانقتها بشدة خشية الفراق، رددتها مرارا حتى تلاشينا نحن والصوت والمدينة في الحطام. كنت ابنها الصغير، رأيتهم كيف انتشلوا إخوتي من يديها تباعا، فباتت عين بحيفا وأخرى بيافا، صاح الثغر بعكا وانفطر القلب في
Gaza. Her beaches suicide on the edges of our eyelids. The tears are a river that begin on the delta of the Nekbe and end only with liberation. On that day, man and earth and sky shed tears in bitter goodbye, in protest of a conspiracy of hate born long before 1948. Tears they still cry. Tears born of a love that will never die.
أحبوك كثيرا، عذلتهم على عشقهم أول الأمر، لكنني عندما قرأت لدرويش عرفت كيف يكون الحب بذلك الصدق، فعذرتهم، وآخرون تألموا لألمك، وانقطعت أنفاسهم بفراقك. فمن جدران الخزان على الحدود صاح كنفاني متأثرا بجراحك، وحاك من طريق الوداع قصصا خلدت ذكراك. فهل تلوموني؟
Do you blame them? They are a people made colorblind, forbidden from their blue skies and the kaleidoscope of clean clothes hung from their ancestors' homes.
ومن خلف تلك البيوت اختفت السماء والحقول، ثم اختفى كل شيء وراء حائطكم، فكانت كالبيت دون دعاماته، كالشعر دون كلماته. باتت أبياته هشة هرئة، وخاننا كل شيء، حتى الزمان بعظمته خاننا.
Time stops for no one, not even a child flung in the space between somewhere and nowhere. A child who holds prayers and memories he never had a chance to make tight before bed. He is torn between the living and the dead. His name is Hamdallah. He is 10 years old and he will remain.
10 سنوات؟ هذا كان عمري عندما تركتك. كنت ذلك الطفل بلا حذاء. على بابك ودعت عمري، فلن أكبر حتى أعود. سأظل في 10 أعيش رافضا، ويداي خلفي. وأنتم؟
Do you wait for a solution? Does your hand extend for deceitful promises or helpless UN resolutions? Because he searches for the solution.
في داخلي، ورفضت أي قضية إلا قضيتي.
But they wait for the olive branches to map their way home. Barefoot, he chooses to walk on thorns.
فأنا شوكة في حلقهم تذكرهم أنهم يوما تركوا أختهم خلفهم، وما زالوا يلومونني لحبي لك.
And from his love came art and life. The art of resistance whispers the sound of worshippers' feet on the cobblestones of Jerusalem. It splashes me with the foam of Haifa's waves through Kanafani's punctuation and the fragrance of orange blossoms in the space between Darwish's words.
بين تلك الأسطر تعلمت الكثير، وفي ثناياها كانت طفولتي، ألعابي والأراجيح. أما حمائم الحي فتعلمت معها الطيران وأكثر. علمتني كيف يكون الموت عرسا، وكيف ترسم الحياة في ذات العرس، كيف تكون الفرشاة صبرا ويلبس الصبر ثوبه الأحمر. علمتني أن نجوم السماء هي أرواحهم، وأن السماء ستبقى منارة في الليل.
The dove of peace sailed away into a late autumn. waiting for the day that the spring of our conscience will bloom. Do you hear the echo of its song, the wings that beat in your chest? We were all born in a sunrise, cradling a holy land. Do you see the sunrise in the horizon, beyond a blue sky, trapped in our dreams? And in that dream,
تذكر درويش كل كلمة قالها فيك فابتسم مرحبا. سيدتي، أستحق لأنك سيدتي، أستحق الحياة. وعاد الحب لينبض في أقلامك نفاني. وظهر من بعيد هناك ناجي العلي. جلس الجميع يشهدون اللقاء وترنمت العصافير بعبق الوطن.
We were all born in a sunrise, cradling a holy land, and we should die in that sunrise. So this video kind of gives a little bit about my background and my journey into discovering my identity. As we mentioned, kind of that Western versus, Arab conflict that I had. And it also won an award in the Plural Plus Film Festival a few years ago. So hope you enjoy. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is irrelevant. I'm more than religion, appearance, nationality. Let's go beyond the trivialities. I am my memories, the worlds I explore in the books I read, my losses, my victories, all the things that make my heart beat, the men and women who live through me, in the views I choose to take and the words I choose to say, the injustice in the world that forces me to stand up and be taller, louder, better, for those with no voice and no choice but to believe in me, and the humanity that I try to see and then project and protect from our divisions. This is me, and these are the labels the world chooses to give me. I've decided to break this illusion that people's reflection of me is who I really am. So let me do this again. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Lina. It was conceived as my father prayed to God for a girl who is everything she aspires to be. I am no longer apologetic for being the other. I am my family, my father, my mother, and their blood that runs through my veins. My heart belongs to a country I was born in, and a country I visit through my grandfather's memories. My father was a refugee, and I'm Hamdallah, armed with a dream, and Rachel Corey, armed with convictions. I'm an artist, a writer, a woman, someone who is loved and who loves. I'm the entire universe if I choose to be. Like the stars, I'm eternal in the hearts I inspire. And like the possibilities of an empty canvas, I am limitless. I am endless. So I showed this video to my students, some of my art students, and then they thought the little kids were my kids. And I was like, how old do you think I am? Those are my nephews. I don't have kids. So that was funny. Okay. So this next video is using salt. If you remember, some of the hunger strikers they called their hunger strike mayu milih because they were only drinking water and salt as a way to resist, their detention and their imprisonment, sometimes administrative detention for no apparent reason or no apparent crime. And so I do this in solidarity with them. A million words cannot express the tale of the cruelty of chains on a wrist, but maybe a million grains of salt can. It all begins and ends with 4 walls, concrete horizons, ceilings that are both blanket and sky. No rain, no stars, only dreams pacing in weary eyes. It's time again to pass the salt as they gather around a banquet of hunger, of pain, of resilience. Slowly watch their souls diminish. In protruding bones and hollow cheeks, they scream silently, "Take our flesh, but give us dignity." They are no strangers to the taste of concentrated sadness, or the pain of the Mediterranean's hands washing over 69-year-old wounds. They are a people who will always have salt in their veins. So today, I try to send a letter to a hollowed mountain that does not collapse, to an olive tree with severed limbs but invincible roots, to the giants among men who empty their stomachs to make room for bigger hearts, to the hands that grasp coals of patience, to the dream that paces in weary eyes. To you, I send a mother's prayers and a father's strength. To you, I send the children's determination, those who carry their coffins on their shoulders. To you, I send the mornings through the bars and the greetings of a spring blooming with youth carrying your cause. To you, I don't send freedom. You are not defined by four walls, concrete horizons, ceilings that are both blanket and sky. You are rain falling in a desert of cowardly men. You are stars lighting the way for future generations. You are not chains. You are not for life sentences. It all begins and ends in a dream emerging from your eyes. You are salt water mixed with air, mixed with blessed soil, mixed with ashes. You are not one man. You are not one heart that will age and fade away with time. You are the sea's eternal language, the tears of generations that continue to speak a story of love and loss. You are the sunrise. You breathe in occupation and exhale those first rays of light that defy the darkest sky. To you, I don't send freedom, because you are freedom.
There was a demonstration in front of the British Home Office calling for the British government not to send Julian Assange to the dungeons of the United States. His grave offenses, of course, were to expose war crimes of the Pentagon to the world. That's our program for today. See you next week at this time. I'm Stanley Heller for The Struggle.